Greetings, Trekkies and Trekkers. Thank you so much for your continued support, and welcome to another edition of Remembering Star Trek. Today, we are looking at the very first film in the Next Generation franchise, Star Trek Generations. Now, Star Trek Generations is very interesting because it came out in 1994, which was the exact same year that Star Trek Next Generation went off the air. So it's kind of interesting that this movie came out the same year that TNG left the airwaves, and ever since then people were hoping, begging Paramount to make a Next Generation film, and it worked. And that's probably due to the fact that Star Trek Next Generation continues to this day to be the most popular entry in the Star Trek television franchise. I mean, like I said, when I talked about the show, it ran for 7 seasons. 7 seasons. That's longer than the Star Trek shows that came before it. That was longer than the original series and the animated series, if anyone still remembers that show. But anyway, so to me, I think that Star Trek Generations did a great job at establishing the Next Generation franchise of movies, and it did a really great job. The only minor complaint I have about this movie is the fact that throughout the film, the characters keep changing from the TNG uniforms to the DS9 uniforms, and that kind of threw me off because I wasn't sure why they did that. Other than that, this movie is extremely good, and I highly recommend, especially if you are a Next Generation fan. And I also love the villain, Soren, played by Malcolm McDowell, who is one of my all-time favorite actors. I especially loved him in the Stanley Kubrick film Clockwork Orange. If you haven't seen that film, check it out. I highly recommend it. It is so freaking amazing. And also definitely watch him in the film Time After Time, which was directed by Nicholas Meyer, who then went on to direct Star Trek II and Star Trek VI, which I talked about last week. So, what does happen in this movie? What is the basic plot of this movie? Well, the plot basically is about there's this thing out there in the universe called the Nexus, and when you get sucked into it, like, time has no meaning in there, which means you can go forward or backward, you can go to all these different moments in time, and it makes no difference, really. And to me, I think that is very interesting, really, that there's this sort of cosmic thing out there where time has no meaning at all. It's incredible, and you can live out your own desires in that realm, and it's very tempting. But when Kirk gets sucked into it, he stays there forever. Then when Captain Picard gets put in there, he's like, okay, this is not real. I have to go back and stop Soren, and he decides to, and Guinan tells him, oh, by the way, Kirk is here, so why don't you guys team up and go beat up Soren? And that's what they do. But it comes at a price, and if you guys have never ever seen Star Trek Generations, then this is going to be one of the biggest spoilers ever. But Kirk dies in this movie, and it's a very meaningful death because he goes out doing what he does best. He goes out saving the universe, and that is what Kirk does best. And the fact that he died doing that is very meaningful. It had a very meaningful impact for me when I first saw this movie. Because this is James T. Kirk we're talking about. We followed him throughout, the original series, the animated series. There were 6 movies all leading up to this, and it's sad, really. But again, he went out doing what he does best, which is great. However, I didn't like the fact that they buried him under rocks. That was just stupid. I mean, they could have had like some kind of like a funeral for him, like later on one of the ships, you know. But I guess they didn't waste too much time with that because they had the big funeral thing for Spock in Star Trek 2, so yeah, that was just kind of a little effed up. But anyway, but other than that, I really do enjoy this movie. I'm not exactly sure why they included Lursa and Bador, the Duras sisters in there. They just felt unnecessary. I mean, we already have one villain here. Why shoehorn in these two other villains from the show? It makes no sense. But anyway, so there's that. But yeah, other than that, I definitely recommend this movie if you are a hardcore Next Generation fan. Then definitely, by all means, check this film out. You will not be disappointed. It's pretty damn good. So, next week, Remembering Star Trek continues with my favorite film in the TNG film franchise, Star Trek First Contact. So, until next time, thank you guys so much for your continued support. I cannot do what I do without you. And join me next week as I talk about Star Trek First Contact. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Live long and prosper, and have a nice day.